In a town where memories vanish like mist, Ethan discovers letters that whisper secrets of the past. Shadows move, echoes call, and every choice feels like walking on a knife's edge. With every revelation, the line between reality and forgotten truths blurs, and he must uncover the mysteries before the past swallows him completely. I never thought a single night could unravel everything I believed in. My name's Ethan Clark. I'm 26, and I've spent most of my life pretending the past didn't matter. But the night it all came back, the night I found the journal, it wasn't just memories. It was a warning. I drove down that lonely road in Ashford, the fog wrapping around my car like an old friend I never wanted to meet again. And I could feel it, the silence, heavier than usual, pressing against my chest. I remember the first time I saw her, or rather, the first time I thought I saw her, because at that moment, the world didn't make sense. The street lamps flickered, and my headlights caught the edge of an old mansion that had been abandoned for decades. No one lived there, or at least that's what people said. But the journal's handwriting was unmistakable, and the notes inside were dated years before I was even born. I hesitated, my hand gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles ached. My heart told me to turn around, run, forget this ever happened. But curiosity, foolish, dangerous curiosity, pulled me forward. As I stepped into the mansion, the floorboards groaned like they were warning me, whispering secrets I wasn't meant to hear. Dust swirled around in the shafts of moonlight that sneaked through broken windows. There was a faint scent of lavender, oddly familiar, and it made my stomach twist. I found the first room, the one the journal marked with a small, crude drawing of a candle. And there, lying in the corner, was a photo. A young woman, eyes hauntingly beautiful, staring straight at the camera, and somehow, it felt like she was staring at me through time. Her name was Lila, or at least that's what I read on the back of the photograph. And then I noticed it. My own initials, scratched into the floor in the same exact handwriting as the journal. I swallowed hard, my breath echoing in the empty hall. Something was wrong, terribly wrong, and yet I couldn't leave. Every step I took deeper into that mansion, the air grew colder, denser, and I could swear I heard whispers. Soft, frantic, almost pleading. I didn't know if it was her or my own mind playing tricks on me. I opened the next door, and the room was lined with mirrors, reflecting dozens of versions of myself I didn't recognize. Each reflection seemed to move independently, smiling when I frowned, frowning when I smiled. And then I saw it. A shadow behind the reflections, flickering, moving closer with each heartbeat. I froze. "Ethan," a voice whispered, soft but commanding, chilling my blood. I spun around, but the hallway was empty. The only sound was my own breathing, ragged, desperate. I tried to run, but my legs felt like they were sinking into the floor. And then I saw her again just for a moment in the reflection. Lila, smiling, but her eyes, they weren't kind. They were warning me. I remembered the journal's last page, scribbled in frantic, uneven lines. "He will come, but only if he believes he can leave." That sentence made no sense until now. It wasn't just a warning, it was a test. And I was the subject. I took another step forward, trying to rationalize everything. It had to be a prank, a coincidence, something explainable. But the feeling of being watched, of being hunted, grew unbearable. The mansion's walls seemed to shift, the hallways stretching further than they should, doors leading to rooms that didn't exist before. I ran, trying to escape, but the structure itself felt alive, twisting around me, disorienting me. And then I heard footsteps, soft but deliberate, echoing mine. I wasn't alone. I never had been. I turned a corner and nearly collided with her. Lila. She wasn't real. She was more than real. Her presence made the air hum, heavy with tension. "You shouldn't have come," she said, voice like velvet wrapped around steel. Her smile didn't reach her eyes, and I realized with a shiver that she knew everything about me, every fear, every regret. I tried to speak, but my voice caught in my throat. I wanted to run, but the mansion wouldn't let me. The shadows stretched toward me, alive, almost tangible. I remembered a story my grandmother used to tell, about spirits trapped by their own unfinished desires, about souls that could manipulate the living. And suddenly it hit me. I wasn't just exploring a haunted house. I was inside a memory, a trap, a liminal space between what was lost and what could be found. Lila's reflection appeared again, this time in the glass at the end of the hallway. "Do you want to understand?" she asked. I nodded, my heart hammering. "Then you'll have to face it," she said. And that's when the first vision hit me. The scene from the journal, my father's voice. The night everything went wrong. The fire, the screams, the running, the betrayal. I fell to my knees, overwhelmed by emotion, by confusion, by terror. But amidst the chaos, a strange sense of clarity emerged. The mansion, the shadows, Lila. They were all pieces of a puzzle, guiding me to confront the truth I had buried deep within myself. And as I stood up, trembling but resolute, I realized this was just the beginning. The echoes of the forgotten were calling, and I had no choice but to answer. I took a shaky breath, my fingers tracing the edges of the journal as if it were a lifeline. Each page I turned revealed more than memories. It revealed choices, secrets, and mistakes that I had long convinced myself didn't matter. I realized the mansion wasn't haunted by ghosts of strangers. It was haunted by echoes of my own past, by the decisions I had ignored and the people I had hurt. Knowingly or unknowingly, Lila appeared again, gliding silently across the creaking floor. Her gaze was unyielding, almost compassionate yet terrifyingly piercing. "Do you want to see everything?" she asked, her tone both enticing and dangerous. I nodded, unable to form words. My pulse raced, my mind spun, and yet a strange calmness settled over me. It was as if accepting the truth, no matter how painful, was the only way forward. The hallway seemed endless, stretching into shadows that I could almost touch. With every step, fragments of memories assaulted me. Scenes of my childhood, arguments with my father, the night I ran from home and never looked back. And through it all, her presence remained constant, guiding me through the labyrinth of regret and loss. Suddenly, the mirrors lining the hallway shifted again, showing not just my reflection, but moments of my life I had long tried to forget. I saw my mother laughing at the kitchen table, a moment of innocence lost too soon. I saw friends I had betrayed, promises I had broken, and opportunities I had thrown away in my pride and fear. And then I saw her, Lila, not just in the reflection but standing behind every memory, a silent observer of my suffering. "You see, Ethan," she whispered, "the past isn't something that passes. It's something that follows, shadows that linger until confronted." I swallowed hard, trying to steady my breathing, to make sense of everything. How could a journal, a mansion, and a mysterious girl contain so much of my life's truth? But I knew deep down it wasn't about logic. It was about facing reality, about acknowledging the mistakes, the love lost, the anger, and the hope I had buried under layers of denial. I followed her to the final room, marked in the journal with a black X. The door creaked open, revealing a room filled with flickering candles. The air smelled of smoke and something floral, a contradiction that made my stomach twist. In the center of the room was a single chair, and on it lay a letter, my handwriting. But not mine, or perhaps mine from another time. Another version of me that had lived differently, made different choices. I picked up the letter, trembling. The words were a confession, a warning, and a plea all at once. It spoke of love lost and found, of betrayal and forgiveness, of the thin line between obsession and care. And I realized it wasn't just about me. It was about everyone I had touched in my life, the echoes I had left behind, the ripples in time that had led me here. The shadows around me shifted, coalescing into forms I recognized, figures from my past, friends, family, strangers whose lives had intersected with mine in moments of joy and pain. And in the center, Lila, smiling faintly, her eyes no longer menacing but filled with understanding. "Are you ready to forgive yourself?" she asked. I wanted to say yes, but the words caught in my throat. Forgiveness felt impossible, undeserved. Yet as I looked at her, at the shadows, at the memories reflected in the flickering candlelight, I understood that forgiveness wasn't just about absolving myself. It was about acknowledging the complexity of life, the mistakes, the love, the fear, and moving forward despite it all. The mansion began to dissolve around me, walls melting into mist, floorboards vanishing into nothingness. But I didn't panic. I didn't resist. I walked forward into the fog, guided by a sense of purpose I hadn't felt in years. And as I stepped through, the final words of the journal echoed in my mind. "The past is never gone. It waits and it teaches. Only those who face it can truly live." Outside, dawn broke over Ashford, the fog lifting, revealing the town bathed in a soft golden light. I could feel the weight of years lifting off my shoulders, the heaviness in my chest replaced with something lighter, something that resembled hope. I knew the journey wasn't over, Not yet. But for the first time in a long time, I felt alive, ready to face what came next. Lila stood at the edge of the fog, watching me. I didn't need to ask if she would stay. She had done her part. The mansion, the shadows, the echoes, they had shown me who I was and who I could become. I nodded, a silent thank you, and turned toward the town, toward life, ready to step into a future shaped not by fear or regret, but by courage, love, and the lessons of the past. And as I walked, the wind whispered through the streets, carrying fragments of the journal, the laughter of my mother, the voices of friends, the echoes of forgotten love. And I understood at last that life wasn't about avoiding the shadows, but learning to walk through them, emerging stronger, wiser, and more human than before. अगर आप चाहें, मैं अब 6 image prompts और 6 video prompts इस story Echoes of the Forgotten के Suspenseful और emotional scenes के लिए आपको ready करके भेज दूँ, जो आप thumbnail और video creation में use कर सकते हो.